Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A strong, slender, smooth-haired dog of Spanish origin having a white coat with brown or black patches, scents out and points to game. Computer science, indicator consisting of a movable spot of light, an icon, on a visual display. Moving it allows the user to point to commands or screen positions. A mark to indicate a direction or relation. An indicator is on a dial. A strong, slender, smooth-haired dog of Spanish origin having a white coat with brown or black patches, scents out and points to game. Computer science, indicator consisting of a movable spot of light, an icon, on a visual display. Moving it allows the user to point to commands or screen positions. A mark to indicate a direction or relation. A projectile with a straight thin shaft and an arrowhead on one end and stabilizing vanes on the other, intended to be shot from a bow. A dog trained to work with sportsmen when they hunt with guns. A dog trained to work with sportsmen when they hunt with guns. A number or ratio, a value on a scale of measurement, derived from a series of observed facts, can reveal relative changes as a function of time. A device for showing the operating condition of some system. A signal for attracting attention. Chemistry, a substance that changes color to indicate the presence of some ion or substance, can be used to indicate the completion of a chemical reaction or, in medicine, to test for a particular reaction. Celebrate by some ceremony or observation. The citizens mark the anniversary of the revolution with a march and a parade. Insert punctuation marks into. Establish as the highest level or best performance. Assign a grade or rank to, according to one's evaluation. Mark homework. Remove from a list. A symbol of disgrace or infamy. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain. A visible indication made on a surface. Some previous reader had covered the pages with dozens of marks. A person who is gullible and easy to take advantage of. A number or letter indicating quality, especially of a student's performance. She made good marks in algebra. A perceptible indication of something not immediately apparent, as a visible clue that something has happened. Something that exactly succeeds in achieving its goal. Hit the mark. An indication of damage. Formerly the basic unit of money in Germany. A distinguishing symbol. The owner's mark was on all the sheep. Apostle and companion of St. Peter, assumed to be the author of the second gospel. To accuse or condemn or openly or formally or brand as disgraceful. A marking that consists of lines that cross each other. Make small marks into the surface of. A reference point to shoot at. His arrow hit the mark. The shortest of the four Gospels in the New Testament. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Mark off the units. Be a distinctive feature, attribute, or trait, sometimes in a very positive sense. Attach a tag or label to. Notice or perceive. Mark my words. Mark with a scar. Make underscoring marks. A written or printed symbol, as for punctuation. His answer was just a punctuation mark. Designate as if by a mark. This sign marks the border. Make or leave a mark on. The scouts marked the trail. The impression created by doing something unusual or extraordinary that people notice and remember. It was in London that he made his mark. Hungarian hunting dog resembling the Weimaraner but having a rich deep red coat. Liver and white hunting dog developed in Germany, 3/4 pointer and 1/4 bloodhound. Hungarian hunting dog resembling the Weimaraner but having a rich deep red coat. Computer science, a pointer that when pointed at a computer display senses whether or not the spot is illuminated. The leaf of a conifer. Annoy or provoke, as by constant criticism. He needled her with his sarcastic remarks. A stylus that formerly made sound by following a groove in a phonograph record. A sharp-pointed implement, usually steel. A slender pointer for indicating the reading on the scale of a measuring instrument. Prick with a needle. The prehensile extremity of the superior limb. He had the hands of a surgeon. A hired laborer on a farm or ranch. The hired hand fixed the railing. Place into the hands or custody of. Hand me the spoon, please. Something written by hand. She recognized his handwriting. A card player in a game of bridge. We need a fourth hand for bridge. The cards held in a card game by a given player at any given time. I didn't hold a good hand all evening. Physical assistance. Give me a hand with the chores. Ability. He wanted to try his hand at singing. A member of the crew of a ship. All hands on deck. A position given by its location to the side of an object. Objections were voiced on every hand. A rotating pointer on the face of a timepiece. The big hand counts the minutes. A round of applause to signify approval. Give the little lady a great big hand. A unit of length equal to 4 inches, used in measuring horses. The horse stood 20 hands. Guide or conduct or usher somewhere. Hand the elderly lady into the taxi. One of two sides of an issue. On the one hand, but on the other hand. Terminal part of the forelimb in certain vertebrates, e.g. apes or kangaroos. The kangaroo's forearms seem undeveloped but the powerful 5-fingered hands are skilled at feinting and clouding. Computer science, a pointer that when pointed at a computer display senses whether or not the spot is illuminated. Be oriented. The weather vane points north. Sail close to the wind. Repair the joints of bricks. Point a chimney. Any of 32 horizontal directions indicated on the card of a compass. He checked the point on his compass. Be a signal for or a symptom of. Her behavior points to a severe neurosis. A specific identifiable position in a continuum or series or especially in a process. A distinct part that can be specified separately in a group of things that could be enumerated on a list. The main point on the agenda was taken up first. An outstanding characteristic. His acting was one of the high points of the movie. A V shape. The cannibal's teeth were filed to sharp points. A contact in the distributor. As the rotor turns, its projecting arm contacts them and current flows to the spark plugs. The dot at the left of a decimal fraction. Direct into a position for use. Point a gun. Indicate a place, direction, person, or thing, either spatially or figuratively. He pointed to the empty parking space. The property of a shape that tapers to a sharp tip. The gun muzzle's direction. He held me up at the point of a gun. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. The point of the arrow was due north. An isolated fact that is considered separately from the whole. A point of information. A wall socket. An instant of time. At that point I had to leave. A very small circular shape. A row of points. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. Give a point to. Intend something, to move towards a certain goal. A punctuation mark, placed at the end of a declarative sentence to indicate a full stop or after abbreviations. A brief version of the essential meaning of something. Get to the point. A distinguishing or individuating characteristic. He knows my bad points as well as my good points. A geometric element that has position but no extension. A point is defined by its coordinates. A linear unit used to measure the size of type, approximately 1/72 inch. A promontory extending out into a large body of water. They sailed south around the point. A style in speech or writing that arrests attention and has a penetrating or convincing quality or effect. Be positionable in a specified manner. The gun points with ease. Indicate the presence of game by standing and pointing with the muzzle. The dog pointed the dead duck. Mark, a psalm text, to indicate the points at which the music changes. Mark, Hebrew words, with diacritics. Mark with diacritics. Point the letter. 1% of the total principal of a loan. It is paid at the time the loan is made and is independent of the interest on the loan. Sharp end. He stuck the point of the knife into a tree. The object of an activity. What is the point of discussing it? The precise location of something, a spatially limited location. She walked to a point where she could survey the whole street. The unit of counting in scoring a game or contest. He scored 20 points in the first half. Computer science. A tiny electromagnetic coil and metal pole used to write and read magnetic patterns on a disk. Be in charge of. Who is heading this project? A person who is in charge. The head of the whole operation. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions. The seat of the faculty of reason. I couldn't get his words out of my head. Be the first or leading member of a group and excel. This student heads the class. The educator who has executive authority for a school. The upper part of the human body or the front part of the body in animals contains the face and brains. He stuck his head out the window. Travel in front of. Go in advance of others. The procession was headed by John. The part in the front or nearest the viewer. He was at the head of the column. A line of text serving to indicate what the passage below it is about. The heading seemed to have little to do with the text. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. A difficult juncture. Matters came to a head yesterday. Forward movement. The ship made little headway against the gale. Oral stimulation of the genitals. They say he gives good head. A dense cluster of flowers or foliage. A head of cauliflower. The subject matter at issue. Under the head of minor Roman poets. Direct the course, determine the direction of traveling. The source of water from which a stream arises. They tracked him back toward the head of the stream. A natural elevation, especially a rocky one that jets out into the sea. Grammar, the word in a grammatical constituent that plays the same grammatical role as the whole constituent. A membrane that is stretched taut over a drum. An individual person. Tickets are $5 per head. A projection out from one end. The head of the nail. A rounded compact mass. The head of a comet. A single domestic animal. 200 head of cattle. A user of, usually soft, drugs. The office was full of secret heads. Be in the front of or on top of. The list was headed by the name of the president. Form a head or come or grow to a head. The wheat headed early this year. Nautical, a toilet on board a boat or ship. Remove the head of. Head the fish. Take its rise. These rivers head from a mountain range in the Himalayas. That part of a skeletal muscle that is away from the bone that it moves. The foam or froth that accumulates at the top when you pour an effervescent liquid into a container. The beer had a large head of foam. The front of a military formation or procession. The head of the column advanced boldly. The length or height based on the size of a human or animal head. He is 2 heads taller than his little sister. The pressure exerted by a fluid. A head of steam. The rounded end of a bone that fits into a rounded cavity in another bone to form a joint. The head of the humerus. The striking part of a tool. The head of the hammer. The tip of an abscess, where the pus accumulates. The top of something. The head of the stairs. To go or travel towards. Where is she heading? Usually plural, the obverse side of a coin that usually bears the representation of a person's head. Call heads or tails. An aggressive remark directed at a person like a missile and intended to have a telling effect. She threw shafts of sarcasm. The hollow spine of a feather. A revolving rod that transmits power or motion. A column of light, as from a beacon. Defeat someone through trickery or deceit. The main, mid-section of a long bone. Architecture. Upright consisting of the vertical part of a column. Obscene terms for penis. A long pointed rod used as a tool or weapon. A line that forms the length of an arrow pointer. A long rod or pole, especially the handle of an implement or the body of a weapon like a spear or arrow. A long vertical passage sunk into the earth, as for a mine or tunnel. A vertical passageway through a building, as for an elevator. Equip with a shaft. The procedure of calculating, determining something by mathematical or logical methods. The branch of engineering science that studies, with the aid of computers, computable processes and structures. The branch of engineering science that studies, with the aid of computers, computable processes and structures.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.